Welcome to Young Black Lives Honored. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and leave a respectful comment below. On September 16, 2022, 18-year-old Devin Clark, a high school wide receiver, and 14-year-old Lyric Woods, who were good friends, were set to hang out. According to Lyric's stepfather, Shane Canada, she took a shower at around 11 p.m. However, when he went to wake her the following morning, she was nowhere to be found. When asked if he thought she ran away, he stated that he did not believe so because she left most of her possessions except for an iPad behind. Canada also suggested she left through an unlocked back door. That afternoon, around 3:44 p.m., Lyric's parents reported her missing to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and her information was entered into the National Crime Information Center Index, NCIC. As the investigation began, a neighbor described seeing Woods riding in a vehicle early on September 17th around 3 a.m. While this was going on, Devin Clark's family was also concerned about his whereabouts and contacted the Mebane Police Department to file a missing persons report. An officer entered his information into NCIC on September 18th at approximately 1:42 p.m. Less than 2 hours after Clark was reported missing, two men in western Orange County were out on four-wheelers putting out deer corn when unfortunately they found the bodies of Devin and Lyric near a gravel road beneath power lines off Buckhorn Road. They left the scene and the 911 caller went home to tell his father prior to calling for help. Clark was wearing dark gray pants, a black hooded sweatshirt, black socks, and a white t-shirt under his sweatshirt. A report allegedly stated that Clark's pants were below his Reebok underwear and his abdomen appeared to have been exposed and swollen. He had received wounds to his head and thigh areas. The men called law enforcement, and unfortunately, both teens were pronounced gone.
Orange County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
I guess the officers probably need to respond non-emergency, but it is a pretty serious issue. I would like to speak to the officer in person, but what we have found is we've actually discovered two dead bodies.
Okay, give me one moment. What's the address as to where this is?
At the residence?
Yeah, what's the address as to where you found the bodies?
There's not an address. It's kind of, there's no house where we found the bodies.
Okay, is there a cross street or anything?
It's in Buckhorn and Yarborough? Yes, it's at the end of Buckhorn and Yarborough Road.
Okay, give me one moment. And what's the telephone number you're calling me from?
I am going to keep fighting to answer.
Concepcion says she feels like she's being left in the dark after first learning about what happened through social media.
They never called me. They would not let me see my son.
She tells me she can't begin to grieve until she finds out what happened.
I don't want no parent to go through losing their child because it's a painful thing. She was 14. Sure, their daughter was killed just like mine. But at the end of the day, it's more to it than it's told, and I need answers.
It was always joyful. He was like a leader, really, because all the other kids kind of followed him at school, being he was a really good kid.
Everybody loved him. He was so humble and kind and considerate. He would do anything in the world for you.
It's really unfair, and I want to get justice, and I don't care about where I got to go, what I got to do, who I got to talk to. I'm going to keep going and keep doing it because at the end of the day, my son did not deserve to get brutal the way that he did.
Authorities immediately began an investigation and spoke with several nearby residents who described hearing gunshots during the early hours of September 17th. Allegedly, police documented that they saw tire marks just up the road where it appeared a vehicle turned around in the bush area and spun out onto the gravel part of the road.
0.
David White heard those shots coming from this field across the street from his home on Buckhorn Road.
I don't know, a minute after that, then 5 more shots went off.
A red cross now sits there, buried in the grass.
The day following the identification of the bodies, the Orange County Sheriff's Office announced they were seeking a juvenile petition to charge a 17-year-old suspect. Due to state laws regarding his age and the fact that it was a juvenile petition being filed, the suspect's identity was not immediately released. He was deemed a suspect after authorities investigated the crime scene and gathered forensic evidence. Although at the time police did not release the identity of the 17-year-old, social media users took it upon themselves to accuse a 17-year-old whose name I will not share. This prompted a response from his mother to clear her son's name. She said that her son had a football game the night Clark and Woods went missing, and he left the game with her. The mother also encouraged anyone to call Burlington Police Department if they had concerns. More than 100 people, including family, students, teammates, and faculty, showed up to the football field at East Alamance High School, where Clark was a senior, for a vigil held in his honor. His coach and mentor, L.J. Flinthall, spoke at the vigil, saying that the outpouring of love and support was a true testament to who he was. Lyric Woods was a freshman at Cedar Ridge High School. Following the tragedy, both teams were honored with a moment of silence at a soccer game between their schools.
And no one has any explanations behind it as to why, what, when, or how, nothing. Today was a true testament to whom he was and how he lived his life, just loving everyone and always being, not a harmful bone in his body.
It's gonna take time, but it will heal.
That's great to know that he had that big of an impact on the school kids. And it really goes to show, like say, he was the person he always presented home. Like I said, he had so much love.
I felt like I lost a family member, and I cried. And I remember when I got the news, I let go of the phone, and I curled up like a baby.
To know that someone would take someone's life, that was that much hatred in this world for someone, so much love.
A field full of love for a person who loved his family, community just as much as he loved the game of football.
Mainly, like I said, he always would talk about making it to the pros. And I was always get them laugh, say, well, son, you know what you got to give up and what you're going to have to give. You got to keep them grades up and make sure you make it through school.
Everything happens for a reason. If it was for no other reason than to bring us all together closer and to make us appreciate what we have a little more.
Clark's loved ones gathered in Yanceyville, where Devin grew up, to show their love and support to family and friends, as well as remember his life. Attendees wore his favorite colors, black and blue, and the number 4, his football jersey number.
Welcome to Cedar Ridge High School for tonight's matchup between the Eagles of Eastern Alamance High School and your Cedar Ridge Red Wolves.
Two schools connected by tragedy.
At this time, we'd like to pause for a moment of silence to remember them.
Devin was a good kid.
Just 20 minutes away at Eastern Alamance High School, where Devin was a senior. His classmates, also with heavy hearts. In honor of the former football player, they released black and blue balloons.
It actually made me feel good to know that he touched a lot of people's lives, that he made an impact on a lot of people, and not only in the school, within the community as well.
Crystal Hughes is Devin's aunt.
It was nearly dark tonight as the crowd released balloons in downtown Yanceyville. Those balloons mostly blue because that was Devin Clark's favorite color.
It's rough.
We heard memories from Devin's youth football coach in Caswell County.
Devin was a good boy. Never gave me back talk. He's part of the reason why we started the Westside Cardinals. A protector of his brothers, his sisters.
Devin's mom stood on stage and listened to every speaker at the vigil for her son. All she could do was grieve in the arms of others. His aunt, though, didn't hold back.
I've been sitting back trying to add from point A to point B, point C. It's still not adding up. There's no good reason. I just want to answer.
No, Devin was to love Devin. I wake up thinking about this. I go to sleep thinking about it.
Back in Caswell County, longtime friends and family tried to reminisce about Devin while ensuring that this isn't just about him.
We're going to keep fighting. We're going to give real answers until someone is put away. Because he didn't deserve, neither one of them deserved it. And both of our families need justice.
Devin, he loved to ride four-wheelers and dirt bikes. It was always something he loved to do with all his other friends and stuff like that. So this is how we're going to, memorialize him and, respect him today.
From sports cars to four-wheelers to dirt bikes, it was a celebration for Devin Clark's family. The ride along on Holt Street, loud and proud, with people wearing black and blue in honor of him.
He was always like that one person that would always come around, make you smile. He'd always make you laugh. His energy was always great. It was terrible. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Some of us still can't. It's hard to think about, but we're trying to just get through every day, and it's just going to have to take it day by day.
Devin was laid to rest on September 27th. Many attended to pay their respects and celebrate Devin's life, and family members described him as a sweet and loving young man with a beautiful smile.
Hey, my brother would never get a chance to do any of them things again. So what I say, please tell people you love them, give them hugs, because if it's anything this has taught me, life can be cut short just like that.
In the aftermath, Devin's mother, Tiffany Concepcion, posted a video on social media saying that she simply wanted justice for both teens. Regarding the 17-year-old suspect, she said he must have been really angry and had a lot of anger in him. At the time, Tiffany said she hadn't been told who the suspect was, but she wanted to know who he was and why it happened.
For Devin's lifelong friends who are also trying to process a loss so great.
There's not really words that we can say about his loss, because the way he went out just really hurts, and I would never expect that to happen to him, as he doesn't get into anything.
I have to face the fact that I'm going to be for the rest of my life till I go to the other side without meeting my brother or being able to hear my brother's voice.
As investigators sought the 17-year-old, they believed that he was on the run and heading to Delaware, thus they alerted their partners in law enforcement. It turned out they were right. 18 days following the discovery of the bodies, members of the Delaware Violent Crime Safe Streets Task Force apprehended Isaiah Mackay Ross at an apartment complex. According to school records, Isaiah was enrolled at Eastern Alamance High School from August 29th to September 3rd, 2022, and authorities stated that he hadn't been living in North Carolina for long. It is alleged that Ross was repeatedly getting in trouble in Middletown, Delaware, so he moved to North Carolina with his mother for a fresh start. Investigators said Ross ran away to Delaware late on September 18th, the same day Clark and Wood's bodies were found. Following his arrest, 2 women were also arrested at the apartment complex. 22-year-old Nakesia Ross from Middletown, Delaware, and 21-year-old Mackenzie Mitchell from Dover were charged in Delaware with harboring a fugitive.
Devin Clark's mother, Tiffany Concepcion, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Good to see you. I know this has been a long time coming. Your son was killed more than 2 weeks ago. What's it been like for you to get the news today?
It was kind of like a big release for a little bit, but it's not all the way, solved, but they got someone in custody. That's what the most matter to me, is that they have someone in custody at this time.
What was the weight been like for you?
It's still a heavy weight, but it's just a little bit that was released off of that heavy weight. But like I've been saying, the case is not all the way solved yet, just because they have someone in custody. I'm just really just on here just to say that I'm proud that they did get him. And I'm going to continue fighting for justice for our child Devin Clark and for the young lady Lyric Woods. Like I said earlier, it's 2 young teenagers' lives that have been taken for no reason at this time. And it will always be no reason. No reason can explain taking 2 teenagers' young lives this early just because of some ignorant, something, you know, anything that, I don't know what the person was thinking or anything.
It really is unfathomable. You love your son.
Yes.
I love your attire.
Oh,
You're wearing D for Devin for the earrings and a picture of your son on your t-shirt. What made your son so very special?
He was a special person because he was outgoing. He was friendly to everyone. He always kept a smile on his face. Like, he was kind of quiet, but he was happy. He was a happy kid, you know, and he loved his sports. He loved football. He played football almost his whole time. When he was able to play football, he was playing football. Like I said, I stay in Caswell County. His father and him stay in Alamance. He played football in both counties. So he is a legend, you know. But at the end of the day, everybody loved Devin. You know, he was a good person.
What I loved learning about him is that he was known for his smile.
His smile, yes. He had the most, and I don't know, it's just his smile.
Not just the smile, but there's the smirk and the smile, right?
Yeah.
Really, just a good-looking young man. There is such a tremendous outpouring of support for you, your family, your son, and also Lyric's family.
Yep.
What was that like, just to have so much love and that outpouring of support?
It meant a lot to me because, you know, you never know how much support you have until something happened. And that's bad to say, you know, that you don't have enough support for any other thing. But for this to happen to me, it shouldn't have never happened, but it did. And it turned out that I did have a lot of support on both counties, Alamance County and Caswell County. And they still supporting, you know, me and my family, his father and their family in both counties. So like I was saying, like the support is gonna keep continuing until we get fully justice, whatever, you know, however long it may take. Because I'm gonna keep fighting. Like I said, I'm gonna march, I'm gonna protest, and I'm not doing it just for our son Devin, I'm doing it for Lyric too, because they're both two teenagers that shouldn't have been taken, and they both was friends. So at the end of this day, if they was friends and they was taken together, I'm going to keep making sure that justice are brought together for both of them.
And lastly, how are you doing?
I'm coping, you know, I grieve in my own kind of way. You know, I grieve when I grieve, you know, but like I said, days have to go on. You know, I can't just not be strong. You know, some days I want to just give up because a big part of me has been taken. You know, I have 2 other kids I love dearly. Like, I love them too. And it's hurting them too. But, you know, Devin meant a lot to a whole lot of people. And definitely being his mother, I can say as well his father, it hurts both of us to have a child that we love not here today.
Ross was brought back to North Carolina, where he was charged with 2 counts of first-degree fatality. Though he was initially charged as a juvenile, his case was ultimately moved to adult court due to the severity of the crime. If convicted, he could face life in prison. In the state of North Carolina, suspects under the age of 18 are not eligible for the death penalty. He was said to possibly have stolen his mother's vehicle, pictured here, to commit the crime. Allegedly, Isaiah's mother saw him and another man she did not recognize on her home ring camera when her son took her SUV. As of this video, Isaiah remains in the custody of the Division of Juvenile Justice, being held without bond. Although his case is now in adult court, due to his age, he is still required to be held in a youth facility under secured custody order.
Your Honor, this is Mr. Ross's first appearance in Superior Court. When this matter was in juvenile court, Mr. Trapp did enter a general appearance. I presume by his presence that he will be continuing as counsel for Mr. Ross.
And to let the court know, I filed a notice of appearance yesterday in Superior Court. I served a copy of the DA's office, so I believe there should be one in the file. And I believe the DA's office should also have it.
All right, I see that. Thank you very much. Thank you all. We'll see you all in December.
Thank you, Judge.
Following his initial court appearance, Devin's mother, Tiffany, spoke with media sources saying Clark and Ross knew each other and that in total, 3 lives had been lost as a result of what happened. Joe Concepcion Jr., Clark's uncle, spoke to media sources expressing the frustration and uneasiness his family felt after authorities initially shared news that they'd identified a suspect. He also shared that the family could not find Devin's phone or backpack. Clark Jr. gave insight into how horrific the injuries were, stating that they couldn't have an open casket funeral. It was discovered that during Isaiah's 18-day run from law enforcement, he reportedly wrote dark and violent lyrics and posted 5 new songs on his SoundCloud profile. He was noted as singing about riding around with weapons, that there was so much red inside his car, and that he had some things he couldn't talk about or discuss. Media sources also reported that Clark followed Ross on the platform, though Ross didn't follow back. The search warrants for the case, which are expected to contain in-depth information about evidence, are currently sealed. No motive behind this senseless incident has been revealed to the public as of this video. I do hope that justice is served. May the family and friends of Devin Clark and Lyric Woods find solace in the happy memories, and may their souls rest in perpetual peace. Thank you.